just identify as what we've been seeing as midwifery for so long, which is kind of middle class white women. We've been geared this way, but it's not necessarily that way. It's very, very diverse. My class is the most diverse class birth class has ever had. We have more people of color than Caucasian people, and not everybody's on scholarship. Not everybody is doing it, but my schools. A lot of these schools, I think, are kind of realizing that, hey, we're midwives. We care. We can't just talk it. We got to back it up. So we have to be able to facilitate this. So looking for these schools that you feel safe at is also really, really important. Besides financial aid and all that other stuff, your safety and your well-being matters. It matters.
And I will back that up with the Georgia Midwifery Association, which is a coalition of nurse midwives and primarily home birth midwives, CPMs. They are changing, offering scholarships, offering a lending library, offering workshops for women women of color, or for anyone, for students. We're trying to, we've had a surge in students in the area, and so we're trying to offer more programs because we want this to be a diverse certification. We want there to be more women of color that are certified professional midwives. We think that's important, and so we're creating pathways, and Mandy is actually in charge of a portion of that with the Georgia Midwifery Association. So we're trying to create more lending libraries with textbooks and other things that we can do to make it, because it is, any way you go, it's an expensive route. I used to call it the midwifery money pit. I mean, you just keep throwing money at it. So it's,
well, right there, that would present a problem, because a lot of women of color,
right.
Socioeconomically wise, don't have money that they have to put in here. And
agree.
Worse if they have children, don't have a husband, different things. So it's a lot that's going to have to be looked at, in addition to the fact that I've heard so many public hospitals are being closed. So a lot of women, especially women of color, are without what they need. So, as far as public hospitals, in case they want to go to the hospital, are they going to have to get a midwife?
In our culture, in the African American culture, the financial aid is very important first. How will they pay for it? I know that financial aid programs will be very important, which is why I took the time to look. If you're going to be on a MEAC track, which schools would really be a realistic choice for you, because I could not have gone to school without a scholarship in financial aid. There was no way that I could do it. So it wasn't going to happen. And then the next thing is to be, as the student said, in a program that is culturally friendly, so you're not throwing away your financial aid in a program that is not going to make it possible for you to graduate, and things can get out of hand if you're in the wrong program. So that's the second thing, and that matters whether you go the nurse midwifery route or whether you go the direct entry route. That happens across the board. So that's important. And when you're looking at the school, it's not just checking the didactic portion culturally, if you're going to be able to get through that. It's also the clinical preceptor part of it. Who is really going to, I would even venture to say, you got to start looking for that preceptor before you even apply. Because if you're not with the right preceptor, you're going to run into a lot of issues, and some of them could be culturally an issue, and some of them could not even be that. Especially if you're coming into the home birth arena. There is an issue with, I'm training somebody, are they coming to practice in this area? Are there enough patients for both of us? And how will that look? There's a lot of talk, a little pet peeve of mine, I'll just say it openly, about the counties that are not being served in Georgia. There's a lot of chatting about that, and moms are dying, and the counties aren't being served. Well, I present this to everybody. Everyone's practicing up here in Atlanta. So are you going to move to a county that's not being served? Are you getting ready to pick up and move and come serve a county that's not being served? Because I'm serving a county, several counties, that are not being served by anyone but me. So my thing is, put your feet where your talk is. Don't talk about you're concerned, but you're going to stay in Atlanta in your comfortable community, and you're not gonna go service the rural community. And you're not gonna get in your car and drive 2.5 hours for a prenatal visit like I do for people. Fan out. You move to the city. You move to the city and you fan out. Go to Augusta, fan out. You fan out. So what we don't need is a bunch of people to graduate school and sit in Atlanta.
And can I just say one thing about when you look for your preceptors and link up with preceptors, and cleaning homes for your preceptor is not a requirement for school.
No.
Okay? So you shouldn't be doing anyone's personal tasks in order for you to
Get an education.
That's not what that is. Okay? So there's a lot of talk about preceptor abuse. Things that are unheard of to me. I would have just never known that it was a thing. But apparently it's a thing. And just beware of, those sorts of arrangements. If you will.
And go ahead.
I have a question about that. My friend, she's actually in school to become a nurse practitioner, and she's having to pay for a lot of her preceptors. I don't know if it's like the same.
That's
with
normal.
this.
That's normal. I don't charge my student. I actually help my student in ways that I won't mention here because it's not gonna happen nowhere else.
Right.
So I give my students some money. So, but that's because I don't just talk, I do. When I say I'm about helping you and I want you to be a CPM and I want you to be good, I mean that. And she is a single mother and she is raising 2 kids by herself. And it is hard for her. So I do some extra things because I want her to be successful, but she'll tell you I'll ride her too. Because I haven't given you any funds for you to not be about the business. So, that's not what I'm not funding foolishness. So,
but a lot of programs are
but
paying
you do have to
stipends.
pay.
Okay.
The programs are paying stipends for your preceptor as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the programs will pay, but a lot of their programs, a lot of CPM programs, you might have to pay yourself. You might have to pay yourself. Hopefully you can find someone who's not going to charge you. Like I said, I don't charge. Christine is not charging her students.
Birthwise does a stipend.
They do a stipend.
They do a stipend.
So
MCU doesn't do
they
a stipend.
do not do a stipend at MCU. Now, I'm okay with Frontier does a stipend. So if you're in Frontier, yay! I've worked for Frontier before. They do a
And
stipend.
some preceptors will say,
$2,500.
I don't want to accept I won't accept the stipend, and they may be able to put that in your pocket or something.
And then that's it. So for the 8 months.
I want to add a couple of thoughts that it's like being a midwife, regardless of your entry and your path, you are an advocate for women.
Yes.
And so you were talking about community health, you were talking about primary prevention, access to care and meeting people where they are, pregnant people, birthing people, meeting them where they are, and then each person is individual. And so no matter what, you are now an advocate. And you need to find ways that you can lift where you stand. You may not be able to pick up your family and move to Savannah. You may not be able to do that. However, there are things you can do. Find ways to get involved. Access your legislators. Go down to the Capitol. Have those conversations. Talk with people in your community. Listen to what the barriers are. Find out where the trouble is and see what you can do personally to lift and support and to kind of get involved. That is another part of midwifery that just goes with it.
It's all together. It really is. Advocating for.
Yeah.
That on Google.
I have a question about nursing. This is another thing I struggle with. Because I've been to the accelerated program in nursing. Do you suggest going kind of backwards and getting like an associate's and then just doing a BSN program online and going to get your
So you said yours is in geriatrics, right?
Yeah.
So what you'll have to do is you'll have to look and see what transfers. So you would take nothing transferred to check?
It can transfer, but it's not a lot, and
Okay,
it's been like the prerequisites. I'm gonna have to take over anyway because it's been more than a certain amount of years.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not going to school anytime soon, especially with her right now. I can't do it right now, so I
would say if you know your end goal is a midwifery degree, via that route, then it it doesn't save you any time to go nursing and go BSN. You just go BSN all the way.
Okay.
You go BSN all the way, and then you apply for your nurse midwifery program. You won't save time doing a bridge.
Okay.
In your particular case,
Okay.
you won't save time doing a bridge. Okay.
So even with the Frontier Bridge program, because there you can be an RN and come in, and then they have the BSN, I guess, portion, and then.
You still putting the time in.
Okay,
You still
so,
put the time
so
in.
we should just go ahead
Yeah,
and
just go on and get it.
And
Yeah,
I
the
think
time
that
is exactly the
struggle.
same.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it is. And you
I
still
would
put the
put that
time.
too,
Time
yeah.
is equal.
So what would you say about those accelerated programs where you can do your BSN quickly, but sometimes they're very costly, like Chamberlain, for example. So I've done all the prereq stuff is done, so that's a lot of your money really could go towards
Yeah.
that. So if you only have the nursing pieces, is that, I guess, not the best thing to do? Because technically you're going in, Chamberlain is expensive, I mean, let me not say unnecessarily,
It's a
but
for-profit school.
Yeah.
but there's also no waiting list. Versus at Georgia State, I'm about to graduate, and I can just be sitting, waiting. So would you just recommend that?
I finished Chamberlain. I know some people have
Okay,
done
you
it
might-
both
okay.
ways. I know some people have done it both ways that left Georgia State and just knocked out Chamberlain. It all depends on your goal and how much time you have to invest in it. It's a time issue, and when you get into the more traditional universities, there could be a lot of holdups. Oh, this is full now. Oh, we forgot to tell you you needed this one class before you could move forward. All kinds of things they do there. So if when you get in a program that's like, we're gonna fast track you to finish, then just finish.
Okay.
Then just finish and move on to the next phase of your program and just apply for the nursing
That's
home.
why I think it depends on what you can handle and in your individual life.
Yeah.
I am in a BSN program now, and it is hard. I am not in an accelerated program. I completed the CPM route. I did my home birth practice for years, and my apprenticeship and all that goes along with it, the sleepless nights and the studying and draining and all of that. It did not prepare me for what I'm in right now. It is hard, but it's manageable. I don't know that I would be ready for an accelerated BSN program, but I'm also a mom of 4 kids, and I have different roles that I'm trying to fit in. So it really is just individualized, what's going on in your life and what you feel, is manageable. But yeah, in my research, I did not find an advantage to doing the ADN program first and then doing it later. For you, Mama,
That was helpful.
I did online. I had to recommit prerequisites as well. Some of those sciences have to be in person. A lot of the technical colleges, Georgia Military College, they are phenomenal to be able to get in some of those extra classes, and it is doable. It is doable. If that is your path.
So you just said that you're a mom of 4. Like, how do you manage being a mother and getting your education? This is for, I guess, all women here. I don't have children as of yet, but I know I'm at the point in my life where I want to start a family. So how?
I always say,
I'm drowning.
you have to go with the flow, but I always say there's no good time to do anything. To be real honest and real with you, there's no perfect time to be in debt, to be
Going on vacation. It's always
on
vacation.
vacation. There's no good time to do nothing. So what
always
my
need to
advice
go
to
alone.
you is just start.
Just start moving.
Just start moving.
And you have the benefit that you have no kids.
Yes.
Right now.
Yes.
Because I
don't
entered
have
with
kids.
kids. I entered the nursing program with a child.
Yeah.
And then I, like an idiot, kept having babies
Having
in the
babies.
nursing program. I kept having babies. I got married. I got a puppy. Life just really keeps moving while you're moving. So it took me 7 years to complete the bachelor's degree in nursing.
That's okay.
Because I transferred schools and I transferred in clinical. No one told me you would lose all the clinicals when you transfer nursing programs. They know no one nursing program will take another nursing program's clinical component. So all the clinicals were dumped, and I had to begin again, and I was in tears. Could have been that I was 8 months pregnant too, but
As well.
but I was distraught. So I really did that. I hit 4 years after I had already put 3 years in. It was like, oh my God. crazy. But you do, what I kept saying is if I keep moving, eventually I have to get to the end. So you just start and you just keep moving and you just get to the end. And when you're doing the nursing degree, you go to that state school where that tuition is cheap, where that grant can where that grant can cover that entire degree for you, and you don't start hitting those loans until you get to that nurse midwifery program. Then you start signing those loans because you're not going to get through that program without the loans, because you do, if you are a single mom, then you can't work 2 jobs, be a full-time student. Like, it can't work if you're by your
full-time was out of the question for mom. You know, like, I was not going anywhere full-time. It was a part-time. It took me 3.5 years to finish because life kept happening. But what I did want to point out, this one thing in this class is that on your path, make sure you're doing things that are going to allow streams of income, right? So when I started nursing school, I was a medical CNA at a nursing home. You know, I worked there while I was in programs, and then I went to a hospital and became a CNA. That was great because I was in the medical system and I could see how things flow and work, you know. And then as a nurse, you know, as a nurse midwife home birth, let me tell you something, honey. Okay, has ebbs and flows, it's up and down, and when you're a nurse midwife, you can go get you a nursing job and get your hustle on until your business picks up. You know, you have different streams of income. I'm from Chicago. We work at least 2 jobs, okay, to make it. So, you know, just work smart as you're going through, you know, your journey. You know, do things that are going to benefit your pockets and your livelihood while you're pursuing.
Right.
Can I say one thing too? Yeah. Also, while being a student, you know, midwifery student, you need to have a job. So like, and a job that, no, for real, like you need a job because like we were saying, babies coming, you know, we have our summers like, stop! The winter times you're like, yeah. So it happens, but rent comes every month, okay? It doesn't stop. So, like Christine was saying, I'm not necessarily in the medical field, but it works, you get what I'm saying? And it's flexibility. So I think finding a job, and I eventually told them I started school. That was one thing. Every job that I went to and tried to apply for a part-time gig, I'd be really honest, like, hey, just letting you know, I have to, you know, the spiel. I'm in school to be a midwife, and I have to go, you know, beyond. And they weren't having it. They weren't having it. They're like, get out of here. You haven't even started. You're saying what you're going to do? So this last job, I didn't tell them a dang. I was like, whoo. And just did it, and they saw my work ethic. They were like, okay, you got it. You know, so I leave and they're like, okay, we'll miss you, you know. But sometimes you have to, just like with birth, you know, we have a vision. We know, we all know, you know, how that baby gets there, what position, if it's going to be ROA, LOA, if it's going to be the flexed or not, we're going to figure it out. But regardless, we know a baby's going to come at the end of it. So I think staying focused on that part and working kind of backwards, right? So you want to be a midwife, so let's work backwards from that. But that is really important. Thinking, okay, wait. I can't imagine having kids. I would not have been able to come to Georgia. What? Me? No way. Like I can't even wrap my mind around it with children. Hats off to those that did take full advantage of the fact. Like, yo, I'm serious because you'll get to work and be selfish with yourself. Like, I'm waiting until I'm done with school because if I could just do that, I'm good, you know? But and it's still gonna be, it's never a right time, right? It's never a right time, but in terms of the pockets.
Yes.
And the money and the time.
It's not without challenging.
Yeah.
It's gonna be.
I mean, even as a midwife, you're challenged.
You're gonna be in a challenge. You're gonna be in a challenge. But it is possible. So an example of a schedule. So I worked the weekend beta program as a nurse, so that pays pretty good if you'll do your weekend. So I did Fridays, and this is once I hit clinical. So I'm just giving you an example of a clinical schedule. So I worked Fridays and Saturdays, night shift, and I was night shift the whole time because where are you going to fit it in the day? So I worked night shift, and then I went to the office. I trained at Marsha Port's office, and I went there on Mondays and Wednesdays. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I was home and I studied and did classwork because I'm in a distance program. I can kind of do my lectures and do my reading whenever. So Marsha's office all day, on Mondays and Wednesdays, studying on Tuesdays and Thursdays all day. I sat in front of a computer all day like a work day. And then off to the hospital on Friday and Saturday. And then I have religious activities on Sundays. I don't do a ton on Sunday. And then I cooked dinner in the morning time in a crock pot or whatever I was going to do. Dinner was always ready by 12 o'clock in the afternoon because I am busy. So you learn how to cook to solidify that. And my kids paid in the department of they weren't in anything. Because how are you going to that? You can play in the backyard. I can buy you a backyard. I can buy you. So you're going to give something.
Yes.
So you're going to give something, and you have to be very realistic about that. There are some people that don't want to give anything.
Right.
So you have to really come to terms with yourself on that, because you will give. You will sacrifice something for this. You cannot be, my kids are in 10 activities, and I work, and I go to school, and I'm writing papers, and maybe your wife too. It's not going to work that way. So it can't work. So if you have to work and you have to go to school, there may not be as many activities, because you have to also study and make time for clinical. So, they had lots of things. I have a huge yard anyway, so they can ride their bike, and we can go to the park, and they can hit a baseball in the backyard, and they can do A, B, and C until these 3 years.
I will say,
over. And then you can do other stuff.
But being a mom of young children, that's better than them being 9 and 10 and needing your attention, because they don't know what's going on. You can drop them off somewhere. Give them something to watch, and you can study, so that was kind of my experience. But we're not telling y'all to do nothing we haven't been through, okay? It's doable, we did it, you can do it, and, we had the same barriers and challenges that everyone else is having. Yeah. So just keep that in mind as well.
And I would say I started school with 11 children and had 12 if I was in school. And I got up at 4 a.m. and studied 5 days a week from 4 to 7. And then I studied in the evening. I liked morning study hours, but then I would study in the evening, and then I would go to hospitals and sit in the cafeteria all night because I have free Wi-Fi, and I'd work on my stuff there. And I was studying 6 days a week, and I had no social life. Yeah, that's what happens. It's your family. It's cooking ahead and freezing all your meals. It's getting super organized. Your kid's not getting to do everything that they want to do. If you talk to my husband, he will tell you, it was hell. It was horrible because I wasn't available to do all the things that they were used to me doing, and I had to be, available to study. I had to get through those classes, and I had to be off at birth. I had to walk out. We had to go to church in separate cars so I could get up and leave in the middle of it. I had to tell the pastor, if I get up and leave, it's not because I'm offended. It's because somebody's just texted. I got to go to birth. And because that happened several times. Things, you miss your kids' birthdays. You have to walk out in the middle of your 10-year-old's birthday, who for 3 years asked me if I was going to miss her birthday again because I did it that 1 year. So there's all kinds of things that you have to do, and it's challenging. But I always tell people, if I could do it with all my crew, you can do it. It's good for your kids to see that you are working towards a goal, and that it's never too late. Like I went to school when I think I started when I was 39, 40. It's not too late. There's sometimes not a season. I couldn't have done it if I didn't have teenagers. If I had just little children, I didn't have any family around that could help me and support me. So having older kids, and not just one older child, but several older children that I could be like, okay, I have to go to a birth, here, I'm leaving. I couldn't have done that because I didn't have any family around. If I just had 2 little children and I had to constantly look for a child care situation, I'd miss a bunch of births. So I think seasons too, we're all in different seasons of life and where we're at. And so, there's certain things, just kind of examine where you're at. Maybe you're not, at that season yet, and that's okay. Teach childbirth classes. Do doula work, do lactation work. You're going to build a client base by doing those things anyway, and those people are going to keep coming back to you. The people I taught Lamaze to wanted me to be their doula. Now they want me to be their home birth midwife. It all kind of goes around, and it's all such. We need childbirth education. We need people privately teaching that, not in hospital birth education. We need community education and lactation services and all kinds of things like that. Postpartum support groups, postpartum depression. We need all those things in our community, and we need more women, offering that, because the people who are doing midwifery can't do all those things. I'm constantly telling my clients who are super interested, become a Lamaze teacher. I became a Lamaze teacher. I'll help you. I'll give you all the books. I'll give you the stuff. Like, go do that. Not that Lamaze is better than anything else, but I'm just trying to encourage women, please, I need you to invest in this, because I can't teach childbirth classes and be a midwife and do all these other things. So we need you. We need every single one of you right now. So please, look at where you're at and don't think, I just can't start my education right now. You can, because like I told Delandra, like the doula work, when you go into midwifery school, you're already going to be so far ahead of people who are just starting out. There were these girls that were like 19 and never had gone to a birth, and I was like, sitting through some of these classes, so just go and get involved, because that's all going to build upon your midwifery education, even if you're on a 12-year path. That's okay,
And my thing is, and this is what I wanted you all to go home with before, whatever path you choose is your path, okay? You own it, you protect it, like surround yourself with positive people you're experiencing, just kind of have tunnel vision when you're on your journey, and don't allow negative stuff, that you're hearing, that you're seeing. Don't let that affect what you're trying to do. That's very important, because it's just, everyone has a different way of going about doing what they want to do. Okay? So don't allow yourself to be swayed in any way because of people who, have other agendas or weren't successful or what have you. Okay?
Be open to go with your goal. Make your vision board sometime this week.
Yes.
This is where I'm trying to get. This is where I am on the path. Put down what you've already done to get on that path, where you're trying to get to on that path, and lay it out for yourself. Even you back there with the little baby. Even you with the little baby. Let me tell you, sometimes people get into the program, and you have to drop classes, right? So you're dropping classes, and it's taking a little bit more time to get through a section. You might as well start. Go on and start. Because you could lay yours out. You can say, I can't get to clinical until she this age. So lay it out for that way. You'll be less stressed. You'll be like, I only take one class a semester, because I can't start clinical until she's this age anyway. So by the time she gets that age, you've completed your didactic in a low-stress situation, which no one else will know what you're talking about. You've completed your didactic, you're all done, you're ready to go off to clinical. Or perhaps your situation changes, and, maybe you find this really fabulous, supportive husband, or, who knows who you meet. And then you're like, okay, well, I can pick up the pace. I think I'll take 4 classes next semester, and the next one, and I'm going to go to summer school, because I'm going to hit clinical in September. Okay, then do it. Just start down the road. Put a plan together, and don't count yourself out because you got a little person. Because the classroom part takes a while. It takes a few years, and she ain't going to be a little person when you finish. So you just start down the way.
You give yourself grace.
Your
journey is not going to look like anyone else.
That's right.
Your experience is just like in birth. It's going to be completely unique, and you give yourself grace. You recognize your boundaries. You try to put those protections in place to help you along that way, and you connect with the people that are going to be your cheerleaders.
That's important. You need connections. You need to talk to people.
Find your village. Find your person. Or
like-minded people.
And
people that can help
encourage you.
And then also, as we're putting it in terms of birth, but then be ready to push, right? That be ready to sacrifice. Be ready to go and do things that make you uncomfortable. If you have kids missing out on your family, I don't get to see my family at all. You know what I mean? Like, it's opposite for me. My family's all in New York, so like. You make sacrifices. You have to push past it. It's going to suck for right now, but you will be a midwife. And I think that's important to see. As a student that's in it, like, talking about I'm tired, like, I'm studying, it's exhausting. And I clean dogs for a living, you know what I mean? I'm a dog, work at a dog, it's random.
Okay? It's random. It pays the bills.
That's hustle.
It's hustle.
You gotta have hustle.
You have to have it. I'm from, don't play that. We're from New York. Right. So you really have to just know that you're going to have to push yourself and step outside your comfort zone and do things that you might have never thought you'd be okay. If you would have told me I was going to be in Georgia 3 years ago, I would have laughed at you. You know? But if this is what it takes, and this is how I see it, if this is what it takes me to be a midwife, I'm about it. Let's go. Like, any challenge, like, whatever it takes, I'll do it. If that means, if I was, maybe nursing school is better for some of you. You know what I mean? Maybe the CPM route is better for some. I don't know. Everyone is different here, right?
Yeah,
But don't let like Christine was saying, someone else's story or experience make you kind of absorb it or kind of like reflect off and bounce off to you, right? Because sometimes we hear stories when we're involved, we're just like, oh my gosh, could you imagine? And we hearing these horror stories, I mean, and they're things that we can learn from, right? And that we need to examine. But at the same time, let's not absorb it and hold us back and hold us in fear. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Hear the stories. Let's learn from it. Let's make changes. But let it not hold us back. Make us more cautious. Make us more aware. Like, no one told me that I should find a safe space being a black woman in CP. No one told me that. I'm telling you because it exists. So I didn't know that. No one told me that. At all. So I'm telling you that because that's something that I've had to come across, and other students of color have had to come across. So know what you want to do, but if you really want to be a midwife, and then there's some people that end up going to midwifery school and find out they're better at advocacy. They're better at teaching. Like they want to be a lactation consultant. They want to own a doula agency. Don't have grace with yourself, right? Don't be hard on yourself. It's all part of the journey. And what's interesting with this, everything you're going to do is probably going to help, touch, and heal women regardless, right? Regardless of what you do. If you have that, if that's what your energy is carrying, whatever you do, it should do that.